The untold story of the victims of the Russia and Ukraine war. The Russia and Ukraine war has been a hot topic lately, and the whole world is worried about the matter. In today's video, we will look at Russia and Ukraine war and its victims. To learn more, keep watching till the end. The world has recently plummeted by the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And in this conflict, Ukraine isn't the sole victim, nor is Russia only a villain. This war or conflict is very damaging and very bad for the whole globe. The people who will suffer from the war will not only be Ukrainians, but you and I will also feel the effects of this conflict. The world we live in today is a global village, and it is more connected than ever. We are dependent on one another. How did the conflict begin? Who are the victims? How can this war affect us? What effects will it have on a broader scale? Stay tuned to find out. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has taken a huge turn recently, but this matter is not a story of yesterday. This conflict has been going on since 2014. Russia and Ukraine had a sort of on and off relationship. The conflict began in February 2014, following the Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity, and initially focused on the status of Crimea and parts of Donbass, internationally recognized as part of Ukraine. The first 8 years of the conflict included the Russian annexation of Crimea and the war in Donbass between Ukraine and Russian-backed separatists, as well as naval incidents, cyber warfare, and political tensions. Following a Russian military buildup on the Russia-Ukraine border from late 2021, the conflict expanded significantly when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022. In August 2014, unmarked Russian military vehicles crossed the border into the Donetsk Republic. An undeclared war began between Ukrainian forces on one side and separatists intermingled with Russian troops on the other, although Russia attempted to hide its involvement. The war settled into a static conflict, with repeated failed attempts at a ceasefire. In 2015, the Minsk II agreement were signed by Russia and Ukraine, but several disputes prevented them from being fully implemented. By 2019, 7% of Ukraine was classified by the Ukrainian government as temporarily occupied territories, while the Russian government had indirectly acknowledged the presence of its troops in Ukraine. In 2021 and early 2022, there was a major Russian military buildup around Ukraine's borders. NATO accused Russia of planning an invasion, which it denied. Russian President Vladimir Putin criticized the enlargement of NATO as a threat to his country and demanded Ukraine be barred from ever joining the military alliance. He also expressed Russian iridescent views, questioned Ukraine's right to exist, and stated Ukraine was wrongfully created by the Soviet Union. On February 21, 2022, Russia officially recognized the two self-proclaimed separatist states in the Donbass and openly sent troops into the territories. 3 days later, Russia invaded Ukraine. Much of the international community has condemned Russia for its actions in post-revolutionary Ukraine, accusing it of breaking international law and violating Ukrainian sovereignty. Many countries implemented economic sanctions against Russia, Russian individuals, or companies, especially after the 2022 invasion. This war is affecting Ukrainians and Russians a lot, and there are huge casualties in the ranks of both countries. The Ukrainian forces, as well as civilians, are having major problems. Along with casualties and a constant state of panic, there is unrest in the region that has forced the people to leave their homes and take refuge in other countries. Since war broke out, 2 million refugees have fled the country. 650,000 are without electricity, and 130,000 have no natural gas supplies. Since President Vladimir Putin ordered an invasion on February 24th, 2 million civilians have fled the country in what is the fastest-growing refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights reported 1,335 civilian casualties, along with 474 people killed. Among the dead are 27 children. More than 860 people have been wounded, but the actual figures are likely to be much higher. So far, Ukraine is in a tight spot. It is against an opponent which is more powerful than it. It is against an opponent that holds nuclear weaponry in its arsenal. It is against an opponent that is much larger than it and is politically much stronger, and an opponent that is economically stronger than it. And it's not the first time Russia has invaded another country, so it is safe to say that the enemy is more experienced than Ukraine. Let us pray that this conflict is resolved soon and peacefully. The war not only kills the soldiers, but also takes the lives of civilians. Thousands of Ukrainian civilians and soldiers are also believed to have been killed over the past 2 weeks. The U.S. official said 2,000 to 4,000 Ukrainian troops have been killed. In the city of Mariupol, some 1,200 people have died throughout Russia's 9-day siege of the city, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's office said, according to the Associated Press. The deaths are not the only problem. The infrastructure, buildings also destroyed in the war, and it takes a huge toll on the economy. As the matter of refugees is discussed, those people that take refuge in other countries put a burden on that country's economy, hence affecting their growth. Ukraine is not the only one with casualties and difficulties in war. Russia is also facing casualties and other issues. Between 5,000 and 6,000 Russian troops may have been killed in just the first 2 weeks of this invasion of Ukraine, a U.S. official estimated Wednesday. The official stressed, however, that this is a difficult number to assess in real time, and the number could be closer to 3,500. A top U.S. intelligence official on Tuesday estimated cautiously that between 2,000 and 4,000 Russian soldiers have been killed since Russia invaded Ukraine nearly 2 weeks ago, a number that even on the low end would be far larger than what Russian officials have published, but also far smaller than what Ukrainians have claimed. Russia is also facing resistance from the world, and many sanctions are being placed. The war, along with these sanctions, is chronic for the country's economy and might leave it limping as it moves forward. The one more amazing and yet devastating thing is the connected world and global economy. The world is connected, and it is a good thing, but this also means that the war happening in Ukraine or any other part of the world not only affects that region, but the whole world. Russia and Ukraine play a major part in the world economy. They are suppliers of resources and also demand and buy many resources. Their war and being out of this picture will leave the whole global economy in jeopardy. There will be turmoil in the international market. The price will show unbelievable trends. The demand for products will be unmet. The currency will fluctuate, and the stock market will also be affected, and there will be a high level of uncertainty. So, ultimately, we feel the effect of the war even inside our own households. We will see the effect in our countries and our local markets. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine will affect the global economy via 3 main channels: financial sanctions, commodities prices, and supply chain disruptions. But the war's long-term consequences could be more profound. Conflict in Ukraine has negatively changed the global economy in less than a week. Just 12 days ago, before the war started, the Russian economy was one of the largest economies in the world, the 11th biggest according to IMF data. It was a key supplier of commodities, particularly energy and food. As a quick fire, the Russian economy has been pummeled by Western unprecedented sanctions, not willing to face a nuclear opponent on the battlefield. Sanctions imposed include freezing of Russian central bank assets, targeting of wealthy Russian individuals and some state-owned banks, partial access restriction to the international payment system SWIFT, and a stop from Germany to its Russian gas pipeline project. Sanctions' costs to Russia are partly cushioned by higher prices for gas and oil exports and avoidance of restrictions through trade conducted with third countries. but the net economic impact on the Russian economy will be negative. This conflict is affecting way too many people, and it should be resolved as quickly and peacefully as possible. The war is not an answer, and who will win the war is not right speculation. In war, there are no victors. There is a country that suffers a huge loss, and others that suffer a slight less loss. What do you guys think? Will this conflict be resolved anytime soon? Will the countries come to an agreement? And that's all for today, guys. Enlighten us with your thoughts, share them in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon for more amazing videos. And thank you for watching.